really sit with this, because sometimes in the NFL, the most important moves aren't the ones a team makes themselves, but the ones made for them by chaos elsewhere. The Green Bay Packers' stunning wild-card collapse against the Chicago Bears didn't just end their season in embarrassing fashion. It quietly reshaped the draft landscape for another franchise entirely. And that franchise is the Dallas Cowboys. Because of that loss, the pick Dallas owns from Green Bay is now locked in at number 20 overall. And when you combine that with Dallas' own pick at number 12, the Cowboys suddenly walk into the 2026 NFL Draft holding two top 20 selections. For a team staring down a full defensive reset in the aftermath of trading Micah Parsons, that is nothing short of massive. This is not a Cowboys roster that can afford to draft passively. The 2025 season exposed structural flaws across the defense, from the lack of consistent edge pressure to shaky linebacker play, to a secondary that simply could not hold up over 4 quarters. Parsons wasn't just an elite pass rusher. He was the identity of the defense. He was the piece offenses feared, the player coordinators built entire game plans around. Once he was gone, the Cowboys were left with a defense that reacted instead of dictated. That reality is what makes this draft and these 2 first-round picks so critical. 2 top 20 picks give you options. You can chase elite talent, or you can weaponize flexibility. But here's the complication. Dallas does not own its original second or third-round picks in 2026. That means if they stay put and simply make 2 first-round selections, they will disappear from the draft board for a long stretch on day 2. For a team with as many holes as Dallas has on defense, that's dangerous. So the goal of this mock draft isn't just to add talent. It's to restore balance, depth, and sustainability to a roster that badly needs it. At pick 12, though, there's no reason to overthink things if the board breaks the right way. If Texas Tech edge rusher David Bailey is still available, the Cowboys should sprint the car to the podium. Bailey checks nearly every box you want in a modern NFL edge defender. He's listed at 6'3", 250 pounds, with a frame that can still carry more functional strength without sacrificing explosion. An explosion is the word that defines his game. His first step off the snap is elite, the kind that immediately puts offensive tackles on their heels. But what separates Bailey from so many college pass rushers is that he knows how to turn that burst into production. He isn't just fast, he's technical. He understands leverage, timing, and how to chain moves together to finish plays. This past season, Bailey was the engine of a ferocious Texas Tech defense, racking up 15 sacks and 43 quarterback hurries, while posting a pass rush win rate north of 21%, one of the best marks in the country. That kind of efficiency matters because it translates. And it's not just about rushing the passer. Bailey plays the run with discipline, sets the edge, and doesn't shy away from contact. That's critical for a Cowboys defense that struggled mightily against physical rushing attacks. Bailey isn't Micah Parsons, and he doesn't need to be. What he is a foundational edge defender you can build around, a day 1 starter who immediately raises the floor of your front 7. Pairing him with Donovan Ezeaku gives Dallas a legitimate edge duo that can survive and even thrive in a post-Parsons world. Now the real chess match begins. Pick 20 is valuable, but its true power lies in who is drafting behind Dallas. Quarterbacks always change the math, and teams like the Rams or Browns are perpetually looking for their next answer under center. If one of those teams falls in love with a prospect like Ty Simpson or Trinidad Chambliss, Dallas suddenly becomes the gatekeeper. That's leverage, and smart teams use leverage to fix multiple problems at once. In this mock scenario, the Cowboys trade back from pick 20 to pick 29 with the Los Angeles Rams, embracing the reality that this is a roster that needs bodies just as much as it needs stars. The trade down accomplishes several things at once. It keeps Dallas in the first round, adds a second-round pick at 61 and a third-round pick at 93, and even brings future draft capital into the mix. Yes, it means passing on some higher-end talent at 20, but it also means the Cowboys aren't invisible for the entirety of day 2. And when you're trying to rebuild a defense that has holes at linebacker, corner, and safety, that matters more than chasing one more flashy name. At pick 29, Dallas turns its attention to the heart of the defense and selects Georgia linebacker C.J. Allen. This is a pick that won't dominate headlines, but it absolutely addresses a glaring weakness. Allen comes from one of the most pro-ready defensive systems in college football, and over the past 3 seasons, he's logged more than 1,500 defensive snaps against top-tier competition. What stands out immediately is his run defense. Allen diagnoses plays quickly, takes clean angles, and closes downhill with real violence. His football IQ shows up consistently in his run fits, and that's something Dallas sorely lacked in 2025. Allen isn't a finished product. His coverage instincts and blitz timing still need refinement, and he's not yet the kind of linebacker offenses fear in space. But the tools are there. The athleticism is there. And when you pair him with a healthier DeMarvion Overshown, you suddenly have a linebacker duo that can actually control the middle of the field instead of being targeted. This is about stabilizing the defense, not just chasing splash plays. With pick 61, the Cowboys move to the secondary and select Keone Scott out of Miami. The defensive backroom in Dallas is overdue for a reset. Outside of Darren Bland and Siobhan Revel, there aren't many players you can confidently project as long-term pieces. Scott's path is interesting. After transferring from Auburn to Miami, he revitalized his career, showing improved discipline, confidence, and versatility. He primarily played in the slot for the Hurricanes, but his tape suggests he can line up across the formation. Scott is physical, willing in run support, and comfortable in both man and zone coverage. His frame and age might push him down draft boards, but this is exactly the type of player Dallas should be targeting. Someone who can contribute early, bring toughness to the secondary, and grow into a larger role over time. He's not just a coverage defender. He's a tone setter, and that matters for a defense trying to rediscover its identity. By the time pick 93 rolls around, Dallas sticks with his secondary and takes a swing on upside, selecting Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety out of Toledo. Small school prospects always come with questions, but McNeil-Warren's production and metrics demand attention. Over the past 2 seasons, he's graded out as one of the most effective safeties in the country, allowing a passer rating under 45 in coverage and forcing incompletions at an elite rate. Those numbers don't happen by accident. McNeil-Warren has the size at 6'2", 202 pounds, and the instincts to play either safe safety spot. He reads quarterbacks well, anticipates routes, and has real ball skills. The concern, of course, is tackling. 14 missed tackles in a season is a red flag, but tackling is coachable. Coverage instincts are not. The Dallas Cowboys are standing at one of the most intriguing crossroads of the modern Jerry Jones era, and if you listen closely to the owner and general manager himself, you can hear something that Cowboys fans have not heard in a long time. Confidence mixed with willingness, ambition paired with flexibility, and perhaps most importantly, a sense that the franchise is finally positioned to attack the future instead of merely surviving it. At his end-of-season press conference, Jerry Jones spoke with optimism about the team's ability to add quality players through both the draft and free agency, and he traced that confidence back to a decision made at the very beginning of the 2025 season, a decision that has quietly reshaped the Cowboys' financial and competitive outlook. Jones described the vision behind the Micah Parsons trade and hinted that the true benefits of that move are still ahead, not behind, suggesting that what the Cowboys were really trying to achieve is only now coming into focus. Away from the microphones and cameras, Jones went even further, floating the idea of busting the budget in pursuit of his long-stated personal goal, becoming the NFL owner with the most Super Bowl championships. He currently sits 3 titles behind New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft, and at this stage of his career, that gap clearly weighs on him. When Jerry Jones talks this way, it forces the league, and especially Cowboys fans, to ask a dangerous but exciting question. Could Dallas actually become aggressive in free agency? Right now, the Cowboys salary cap situation looks less like a clean spreadsheet and more like a Monet painting, slightly blurry and dependent on where you stand. What is clear is that Dallas must clear cap space to comply with the 2026 limit, but the exact number won't be finalized until early March when the league officially sets the cap. As things stand, the The Cowboys have roughly $330 million in contracts on the books, while league projections place the cap somewhere between $295 and $305 million. Even under conservative estimates, that means Dallas must find at least $30 million just to get under the cap before making a single addition. And that number could grow quickly if the team applies the franchise tag to wide receiver George Pickens, a move that would immediately add close to $28 million to the cap. At first glance, this might sound like a financial nightmare, but the reality is far more manageable because the Cowboys have built their roster with restructures in mind. Dallas can generate upward of $100 million in cap space by restructuring contract for Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tyler Smith, Osa Odigizua, Darren Bland, and Jake Ferguson, simply by reducing base salaries to the league minimum and converting the rest into bonuses. However, not every restructure is created equal, and there are legitimate long-term consequences to consider. Fully restructuring Dak Prescott's deal, for example, would push nearly $8 million per year into future cap figures from 2027 through 2031, ballooning his cap hit to over $75 million in 2027 and more than $85 million in 2028. While that move would provide immediate relief, it would also mortgage the future, and the Cowboys must decide whether short-term flexibility is worth long-term strain. A partial restructure may be the wiser path, preserving flexibility without completely overloading future seasons. The situation with Darren Bland is even more delicate. Coming off his second foot surgery in as many years, Bland presents both upside and risk. His fully guaranteed money expires after this season, which gives the Cowboys a relatively clean exit option in 2027 if things go south. Restructuring his deal now would increase future cap commitments at a time when his durability is uncertain. For that reason, the smartest approach may be to keep Bland's contract untouched unless circumstances force the team's hand later in free agency, during the summer, or near the trade deadline. The good news is that other restructures carry far less risk. By reworking the contracts of CeeDee Lamb and Tyler Smith alone, Dallas can free up roughly $36 million in cap space, money that can immediately be put to use. If the Cowboys want to push even further, they can look toward extensions for defensive tackles Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, both of whom are under contract through 2027. Clark, in particular, is due an $11 million roster bonus by March 13th, creating urgency that could be leveraged into a cap-friendly extension. These types of moves highlight just how much flexibility the Cowboys actually have if they choose to use it. Among their 15 unrestricted free agents, 3 stand above the rest in importance: George Pickens, running back Javonte Williams, and defensive end Jadeveon Clowney. All 3 have expressed a desire to return, but each represents a very different challenge. Pickens is the most complicated. After arriving via trade from Pittsburgh, he delivered career highs across the board with 93 receptions, 1,412 yards, and 8 touchdowns. He is now positioned to demand top-of-the-market receiver money, potentially exceeding the $34 million per year deal CeeDee Lamb signed 2 years ago. That reality is why many around the league believe Dallas will apply the franchise tag, buying time, but also introducing the possibility of off-season tension. The Cowboys dealt with a training camp hold-in from Micah Parsons last year, and Pickens shares the same agency, athletes first, raising the possibility of a similar standoff. Clowney's market value has also risen. He led the Cowboys with 8.5 sacks and finished the season strong despite entering his 13th NFL year. He has emphasized his desire to participate fully in the off-season program and training camp, something he believes will allow him to be more physically prepared than he was when he joined the team late last season. His on-field production is critical for a pass rush that struggled in 2025, and his off-field leadership has earned praise from head coach Brian Schottenheimer, particularly for his mentorship of younger players like Donovan Ezra. Javonte Williams presents a different kind of dilemma. He rushed for 1,201